Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're here with the first installment of July's Saints You Probably Didn't Know About.
And we're starting off with an extremely easy one.
Okay.
On July 1st, we activate the Welsh name alert with Saint Cewydd, or Cewydd. From Anglesey, Wales. Nothing else is known about him, except that he's from Anglesey in Wales.
And his family apparently loves consonants.
Oh, come on. There's 1.5 vowels in there.
I mean...
There's E and sometimes Y.
At times, W was kind of vowelish.
Under normal circumstances...
Double D might be like one of those letters that work together.
Under normal circumstances, I would say that the Y probably counts as a vowel in this case. However, it's Welsh. I don't know how they pronounce the Y, so it may very well be a consonant.
And once again, we have refrained from asking our friends who know Welsh.
Yes.
I don't know. We like this bit.
I mean, we haven't seen them in almost a year, so...
Onward!
Onward. On the 2nd, we have Saint Acestes, who was a soldier who escorted Saint Paul to his death, was converted by him, and was beheaded.
I love stories like that.
Yeah.
Because he's not alone. There are a number of executioners who then convert.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if he's the only one for this month. I did write this a little while ago, but I feel like there was a couple of those in there.
Nice.
All of the story, I love all the stories wherein it was a person who was involved in the persecution of Christians, who, by their being involved in the persecution, became a Christian themselves. You know, I think of the one that's in my head often is there was one story I heard where like people are being like pushed out into like the freezing water kind of a thing to freeze to death, and after seeing just how they went through, one of the guards apparently just walked off and joined them in the freezing waters.
All right. Well, for the 3rd, we have a saint whose one fact is not their name. I mean, if I was really being technical. Their name would be one fact, but
We almost know too much about this saint for this list.
I don't know. Technically, their name is the fact. It's not the only fact, but it is a fact in there.
Yep.
So, we have Saint Phocas the Gardener, who was a martyr, who was beheaded during the reign of Diocletian, who was one of the arch jerks of history. And the fun fact about, or the additional fact about Saint Phocas is that he dug his own grave before he was beheaded.
Voluntarily.
He wasn't compelled.
It wasn't that they forced him.
Yeah.
It was that he...
It's just like, you guys are doing it all wrong. Let me show you how this is done.
Well, I mean, apparently the soldiers came asking for him, and he's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, but it's late, so why don't you guys just, hang out and rest here? And then during the night he dug his grave, and then in the morning he's like, hey,
guess what? It's me!
I made a plot.
And then they still went through with it.
But I was just, his name is the Gardener, and
Focus.
he was a gardener. So part of the fact is his name.
On the 4th, we have Saint Odo the Good.
As opposed to Saint Odo the Bad, Saint Odo the so-so, and
Saint Odo the cheapskate.
And Saint Odo, that guy.
He was the Archbishop of Canterbury, and apparently really liked O's, because that's the only vowel in his name, and there's 4 of them. And if he had a G in his first name, it would be like anagrams.
But he might have been a changeling. No one knows.
Slept in a bucket.
A pail.
And on the 5th, we have... Everyone's going to be excited.
Yep. On the 5th, we have Saint Athanasius and Saint Athanasius the Athonite.
Ooh.
No, these should not be confused with the Anastasi. But these
these guys aren't numbered.
No.
Right.
There's no confusion.
Yes, but I needed to have something that was a common name, and there's way too many of them.
So, the first Athanasius in this listing was a deacon and a martyr, and who was beheaded.
Good.
The second was a monk, an abbot, and a founder, and died with 5 monks when part of the church collapsed on them.
It appeared to be like a natural disaster / old church thing, and not that this was how they were killed.
They weren't martyred by that.
No.
one knocked their church down on them. Gotcha.
Well, God did, but
God permitted it to fall.
Permitted it to fall. Yes, it was not
What
an
a-
act
no,
of will.
He might have caused it directly to collapse.
I mean, we don't know anything about the 5 other monks involved here.
That's true.
We can ask later. On July 6th, we've got Saint Sexburga, a.k.a. Sexburh, a princess, queen, and nun. 2 of her daughters, Ercongota and Ermenida, were also saints, as were her siblings Jurmin, Ethelthryth, Ethelburh, and Wihburh. Saints are often clustered. Family members, friends. So, if your friends are saintly, that increases your odds. If your friends are terrible, terrible, terrible sinners...
Yes. Now, on the 7th...
At the same time, if you want one of your friends to chances to increase of going to heaven to increase, be the saint in their lives.
And be a saintly friend to terrible, terrible, terrible sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. On the 7th, we could then talk about, I believe, one of her daughters and one of her sisters. Because, like, immediately after, there was a couple more. But I'm like, given how their facts was all the other ones, I'm like, we'll go with a different saint no one's heard of.
I mean, we are providing minimal information in this segment, but that seems like, that would have been the cheap way out.
So, on that note, on the 7th, we will be talking about Saint Angelelmus. Angelelmus. Who is a bishop and an abbot from France.
On July 8th, we have Saint Auspicius, who has an auspicious name, a bishop of Trier, Germany, who is also possibly a bishop of Toul.
Then, for the 9th, I will let you say them all to practice your Dutch.
Yeah.
So on the 9th, we have Leonard von Veghel, Peter of Assche, Andrew Wouters, Nicasius of Heeze, Jerome of Weert, Anthony of Hoornaar, Godfried van Duynen, whatever. Willehad of Denmark.
That was easy.
Yeah, that one. James Lacobs. Sure, it's not Lames Jacobs.
I know. I double checked to make sure there was.
Lames, come on, mate.
Francis of Roye, John of Cologne, Anthony of Weert, Theodore of Der Cornelius of Wyk by Dursted, Adrian van Hilvarenbeck, Theodore of Der
You got that already.
Oh, wait, nope, I did. You're right.
Yeah.
Godfried of Mervel, Jan of Oysterwijk, Nicholas Poppel, and Nicholas Pieck, the martyrs of Gorkum.
The 19 Martyrs of Gorkum.
Who were all hung in Brielle, Netherlands, on July 9th, 1572, by Calvinists. I'm gonna have to assume there's supposed to be an S on the end of there because Calvinist doesn't.
Yeah.
No worries. And when you're talking about the hanging of a person, the past participle is hanged.
Yes.
Fun fact. Yes, the 19 Martyrs of Gorkum. Cursed Calvinists.
Who were all captured in the one city because they all died in a different city. I'm
Yes.
like, wait, why are they of Gorkum? Like, clearly this one guy's from Denmark and this one's from Cologne.
Because that's where they gathered them.
But that's where they all...
Yeah. On the 10th, we've got St. Peter II, a Vietnamese martyr and catechist who was beheaded.
Do you want to do the 11th?
The 11th is St. John of Bergamo, a bishop who was once thought to have been martyred by the Arians, but it turns out that, more study found that he died of natural causes.
Probably bored to death listening to Arians.
I think it was more that he was questioned by them, but he survived. But some news reports are like, the bishop has been caught, and
Yeah, the Arians. It's not like martyring people was beyond them.
On the 12th, we have St. John Gobert and St. John Jones and Blessed John Nason and Blessed John Tanaka and St. John the Iberian and St. John Wall Gobert.
No.
Wall. Gobert was an abbot. Jones was one of the 40 martyrs of England and Wales who was hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Yeah.
Mason, martyr of Japan, was burned alive.
Also not good.
Tanaka, also a martyr of Japan who was burned alive. Iberian was from Georgia, the country, not the state, and founded a monastery. Wall was also one of the 40 martyrs of England and Wales who were hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Yeah. We had a couple days with a very long list of saints where There might have been one where I'm like, I know who that is, but I'm like, okay, well, these are all people named John who are, saints and blessed on the same day. I'm like, we'll just go for them all.
In June we had that day where most of them were Dominics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someday when we redo the poll for what way would you choose to be martyred, we should make sure to include hanged, drawn, and quartered. I don't know that anybody will choose it.
It's one of the worst.
It kind of falls into that whole category with snake bag and sea, where it's like, no, why would anybody want that?
I mean, if it was that they actually hung them correctly and they died instantaneously, it would be one thing. But it was, no, we're just going to kind of suffocate you a bit so then we can cut you up later.
Yeah. The merciful was when they hanged them to death and then they would just mutilate the body for reasons. But
I mean, that was a whole thing in English law about, killing this person wasn't good enough, so this is what we're doing with them.
yeah.
I mean,
Had to set an example for the rest of them.
I mean, it had been horrible for sanitation in science, because, first it was like, well, let's just lay their body about, which is not sanitary. And then they're like, all right, well, we're going to send you to be cut up by the scientists to determine, medicine, where it's like, well, I don't want to, volunteer to do that now after I'm dead. That's what you do with criminals who are extra crimey.
On July 13th, we've got Blessed Carlos Manuel Rodriguez Santiago, the first blessed from Puerto Rico. He was a catechist and choir manager, as well as an office clerk, translator, and a writer on the liturgy and liturgical reform. He died as recently as 1963.
Wow, I feel that we might know entirely too much about that one to be on this list.
He is one that could have his own episode, but as it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't even know that there was currently a blessed from Puerto Rico. I'm like, I'm going to put this on at least, maybe someone will be like, I would like to know more about them. Also, I noted when they died, not only because it was new, but because they were really big on discussing liturgical reforms pre-Vatican II. They were on the forefront of the people who were like, if they lived to see it, they'd be like, yes!
Oh, well, no, I mean, come on. The liturgy was reformed several times in the 1950s, in 1962. Yeah. Liturgical reform was a big thing prior to the council.
Yes.
On the 14th, we have St. Heracles, who was the brother of St. Plutarch and a patriarch of Alexandria, and apparently they excommunicated Origen.
Which is interesting, because I was literally just listening to something where the person was not sure if he had been excommunicated or just his ideas noted as heretical. I'm like, I know the answer to that.
Although
the patriarch did.
Although, of course, it's always possible for an excommunication to be lifted.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Origen. So hard to figure out what's true.
And
he had so many good ideas until he didn't.
He had brilliant ideas until he didn't, yeah.
And in case you didn't get enough of it back on the 5th, on the 15th we have
Saint Athanasius, a bishop who attended the Lateran Council of 863. I don't know why the Anastasias are all numbered and the Athanasiuses aren't, but it is what it is.
I do like that at least every month we have one of them in groupings. Because I went through and I'm like, no, where are they? What weird number will we have now? And then there's like none. I'm like, oh, but there's these ones.
So those are the saints for the first half of July.
Go down below. Let us know if there are any saints that you think need more attention in the comment section. While you're down there, hit the subscribe button, the bell next to it so you get notified when new episodes come out. Hit that like button, because everybody likes a thumbs up. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what any of my children say. And remember, until next time, to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love. And if you want to be a smart aleck, comment below about how you know entirely too much now about Blessed Carlos.
Or about, you want to know more about the saint from the first. Of even the experts are like, we don't know anything else. They're from here. This is their name.
He's from Anglesey. What more do you want?
There were a lot of saints in that area.
It's an island. Congratulations.